Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and that might sound impossible, but what if I told you that one ordinary-looking 1993 P. Jefferson nickel has sparked unbelievable stories among collectors who believe a single example could be worth as much as $102 million under the most extraordinary circumstances. Imagine reaching into an old coin jar, digging through years of forgotten pocket change, and discovering that one tiny 5-cent coin could completely rewrite your future. It sounds like fiction, it sounds unbelievable, yet the world of rare coins has proven time and time again that the impossible has a way of becoming reality. And trust me, you are going to want to stay until the very end, because today is only the beginning. The next coins in this series become even stranger, filled with mysterious mint stories, shocking collector discoveries, and unbelievable twists that most people have never heard before. Now let's dive into the fascinating mysteries surrounding the 1993 P. Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary, the same familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, Monticello proudly displayed on the reverse, nothing flashy, nothing made of gold, nothing that screams treasure. In fact, millions of Americans have probably handled one without giving it a second thought. That is exactly what makes stories like this so exciting, because history has repeatedly shown that ordinary coins can sometimes hide extraordinary secrets. Before we go any further, here's the incredible claim that has captured the imagination of collectors everywhere, under the most extraordinary collector circumstances, involving an exceptionally rare combination of minting anomalies, pristine preservation, historical significance, and overwhelming demand. This 1993 P. Jefferson nickel has been rumored to carry an estimated collector value reaching an astonishing $102 million. That number is enough to make anyone stop and think before spending another nickel. Now, does every 1993 P. nickel have that value? Absolutely not. Most are worth face value or only a small premium. But that possibility, that tiny chance that an overlooked coin could possess something incredibly unusual, is exactly what keeps collectors searching every single day. The Philadelphia Mint produced enormous numbers of Jefferson nickels in 1993, meaning these coins entered circulation across the country by the millions. Grocery stores handed them out as change, vending machines accepted them without hesitation, children tossed them into piggy banks, and families filled old coffee cans with spare change without realizing those containers might someday become miniature treasure chests. Collecting coins is often described as a treasure hunt hiding in plain sight, and the 1993 P. Jefferson nickel perfectly represents that idea. Over the years, collectors began noticing that a handful of examples displayed unusual characteristics. Some appeared to have exceptionally strong strikes, revealing tiny design details that were missing on ordinary examples. Others reportedly showed dramatic die polishing lines, unusual surface textures, or fascinating doubling effects that caught the attention of specialists. Imagine being one of the first people to notice something different. You're sorting through nickels late at night, under a bright lamp, your magnifying glass moving slowly from coin to coin, when suddenly one piece catches your eye. The lettering looks sharper, Jefferson's hair seems more detailed, the steps of Monticello appear unusually crisp, and you immediately realize this coin deserves a closer look. That single moment of curiosity could become the beginning of an unforgettable journey. Stories like these fuel the imagination of collectors around the world. Every major coin discovery started with someone paying attention while everyone else ignored what seemed ordinary. The most exciting part is that rare coins rarely announce themselves. They don't glow. They don't sparkle brighter than other coins. They quietly wait for someone patient enough to recognize their hidden significance. Now here's something fascinating. Minting coins is an incredibly precise process, but perfection is surprisingly difficult to achieve. Massive presses operate under tremendous pressure, striking thousands upon thousands of coins every hour. Dies wear down. Machinery experiences tiny shifts. Planchets occasionally behave differently than expected. Every once in a while, those tiny imperfections combine choose something collectors find irresistible. Some enthusiasts speculate about dramatic off-center strikes, others discuss possible double dies, while still others search for unusual die cracks or fascinating clash marks. Whether every rumored variety truly exists or not, the excitement surrounding the hunt never fades. That's because collectors know that one confirmed discovery can instantly transform an overlooked coin into headline news throughout the hobby. Think about how many jars of spare change are sitting untouched in homes across America right now. Kitchen drawers filled with coins. Old dresser boxes inherited from grandparents. Forgotten bank envelopes tucked away decades ago. Most people see loose change. A collector sees possibility. That's the difference. Every coin deserves a second look because history has repeatedly rewarded those willing to examine the smallest details. And speaking of details, condition plays a gigantic role in determining collector value. A coin preserved in flawless mid-state condition can command dramatically higher prices than one heavily worn through decades of circulation. Tiny scratches, contact marks, luster, strike quality, eye appeal, all these factors become incredibly important. Imagine two identical nickels struck on the same day. One spends 30 years bouncing through cash registers, while the other remains untouched inside a carefully stored roll. Decades later, those two coins may look completely different, and collectors notice every little distinction. Auction excitement often begins long before bidding actually starts. High-end collectors study photographs for hours. Experts examine certification reports. Specialists compare known examples. Rumors spread through the hobby. Then auction day arrives. Hearts race. Bidding begins. One paddle goes up. Then another. Suddenly the room transforms into an arena where history, rarity, passion, and competition collide. That atmosphere alone explains why rare coin collecting continues captivating generations. But here's where things become even more intriguing. Some collectors believe undiscovered examples still remain hidden inside original bank-wrapped rolls from the early 1990s. Imagine opening a sealed roll untouched since 1993. Every coin inside flashes with original mint luster. Every piece has remained protected for decades. The anticipation will be incredible. Which coin might hold the strongest strike? Which one might reveal an overlooked variety? Which one could become the next great discovery? That uncertainty keeps collectors coming back year after year. Even experienced numismatists admit that surprises still happen. New die varieties continue being identified. Previously unnoticed characteristics occasionally emerge after decades of careful study. That constant evolution makes coin collecting feel alive, because every discovery adds another chapter to an already fascinating story. By the way, don't disappear yet, because the upcoming coins in this series take this excitement to another level. One of them has a backstory that collectors love debating, while another carries a mystery that has sparked endless conversations among enthusiasts. You definitely won't want to miss what comes next. Back to our remarkable 1993 P. Jefferson Nickel. Beyond rarity, this coin also represents an era. The early 1990s marked a fascinating period in American coinage, when modern coins circulated by the billions while collectors quietly searched for hidden treasures among everyday change. Children checked piggy banks. Parents searched coin rolls. Dealers attended shows carrying magnifiers and reference books. Every search carried the same dream, finding something extraordinary before anyone else. That dream still exists today. Even now, countless people continue examining nickels hoping to uncover an overlooked rarity. Some searches end quickly. Others last years. But every collector understands that the next coin could always be the one that changes everything. That's what makes this hobby so addictive. Every handful of change brings another opportunity. Every forgotten coin collection deserves another inspection. Next, 1993 D. Jefferson Nickel. This one mistake at the mint created a coin worth millions today, or at least that is the astonishing claim that has fueled endless conversations among collectors, auction watchers, and treasure hunters for years. Imagine opening an old family coin collection, brushing away decades of dust, and spotting a simple 1993 D. Jefferson nickel that looks no different from countless others, only to discover that experts begin examining it with growing excitement. Could an ordinary 5-cent coin really become one of the most talked about modern nickels ever imagined? Stay with me, because the deeper we go into this story, the more unbelievable it becomes, and before this journey is over you'll understand why so many people refuse to spend a single old nickel without checking it first. If the previous coin made you think twice about your spare change, this Denver Mint issue raises the suspense even higher, and don't forget, another incredible coin is still waiting after this one, carrying a mystery that collectors never seem to stop discussing, so make sure you stay all the way to the end because the surprises are only getting bigger. Now let's reveal the incredible number that has captured so much attention. Under an extraordinary combination of rarity, exceptional preservation, unique mint characteristics, and overwhelming collector demand, some estimates have suggested that a one-of-a-kind 1993 D. Jefferson nickel could theoretically reach an eye-popping collector value of as much as $112 million. That figure is enough to leave anyone speechless. Of course, the overwhelming majority of 1993 D nickels found in circulation are ordinary coins worth only their face value or a modest premium depending on condition. But rare coin collecting has never been about the ordinary. It has always been about the extraordinary, the unusual, the overlooked, and the discoveries that nobody expected to happen. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels during 1993, sending them into circulation across the United States where they quietly passed through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, vending machines, and cash registers every single day. Most people never paused to examine them. They dropped them into cup holders, piggy banks, kitchen drawers, and old jars sitting on shelves. Years later, those forgotten containers became miniature time capsules waiting to be explored. Imagine a rainy afternoon when someone finally decides to sort through an old coffee can filled with decades of pocket change. One by one, coins slide across the table. Pennies, dimes, quarters, and then a handful of nickels. At first nothing stands out. But then one coin catches the light differently. The surfaces appear unusually sharp. Jefferson's portrait seems remarkably crisp. The mint mark below the date looks perfectly struck. Suddenly curiosity takes over. A magnifying glass appears. Reference books are opened. Online photographs are compared. That ordinary afternoon transforms into an unforgettable treasure hunt. This is exactly why so many collectors remain fascinated by modern coinage. Hidden discoveries are still possible because millions of coins continue sitting unnoticed in homes across the country. Some collectors believe that among the massive production at the Denver Mint, a handful of coins may have escaped with remarkable characteristics that separated them from the rest. Discussions often focus on unusually bold strikes where every tiny detail appears stronger than expected. Others search for double design elements that seem to create subtle shadows around lettering or Jefferson's profile. Some enthusiasts carefully inspect the reverse of the coin looking for unusually complete steps on Monticello, because even the smallest detail can dramatically influence collector interest when combined with exceptional preservation. Then there are the fascinating stories surrounding minting itself. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. Those planchets move rapidly through enormous presses capable of producing thousands of coins every hour. The pressure involved is tremendous. Dies gradually wear with repeated use. Tiny imperfections develop over time. Machinery occasionally shifts by microscopic amounts. Most of those changes produce perfectly acceptable coins. Every so often, however, something slightly unusual occurs, creating subtle characteristics that later attract serious collectors. That possibility is what fuels countless hours of searching through rolls obtained from local banks. Dedicated hobbyists often purchase entire boxes of nickels simply to examine every single coin under bright lighting. Imagine spending an entire weekend carefully turning each nickel between your fingers, comparing dates, mint marks, strike quality, luster, and tiny details invisible to the casual eye. Many people might consider that repetitive. Collectors call it exciting because every coin represents another chance. Every roll carries possibility. Every unopened package creates anticipation. Somewhere inside could be the coin everyone else overlooked. One of the most captivating aspects of the hobby is that remarkable discoveries frequently happen when least expected. There are stories of children finding collectible coins while counting allowance money. Families have uncovered valuable varieties while cleaning out inherited homes. Coin dealers occasionally discover overlooked treasures mixed inside bulk purchases. Those stories inspire thousands of new collectors to begin searching their own change. Whether the discovery turns out to be valuable or simply historically interesting, the excitement remains real because every search teaches something new. Another important factor that separates ordinary coins from extraordinary collector pieces is condition. Professional grading experts evaluate every tiny detail with incredible precision. Original mint luster, surface preservation, contact marks, strike sharpness, eye appeal, and countless other characteristics all influence how collectors view a coin. A Jefferson nickel that remained untouched inside a carefully stored roll for decades will often appear dramatically different from one that circulated through countless pockets and cash registers. That difference can completely change how collectors respond when a coin appears at auction. Picture an auction room filled with experienced buyers. The coin is displayed under bright lights. Photographs have already circulated among specialists. Whispered conversations fill the room as everyone waits for bidding to begin. The auctioneer introduces the lot. The first bid appears immediately. Another follows. Then another. Soon competition intensifies as determined collectors refuse to let an important coin slip away. Every raised paddle increases the suspense. Every new bid reflects someone's belief that this coin deserves a place in an important collection. Even spectators feel the tension because they know history may be unfolding before their eyes. That's part of what makes rare coin auctions so captivating. They combine history, craftsmanship, competition, and emotion into one unforgettable event. The 1993 Jefferson Nickel also reminds us how easily remarkable objects can hide in plain sight. Think about how many nickels people receive every week without even glancing at the date. Most go straight into wallets or coin jars. Very few receive careful inspection. Yet experienced collectors understand that careful observation often rewards patience. They look at every date, every mint mark, every surface, every tiny detail. Their habit isn't based on luck alone. It's based on knowledge and persistence. Speaking of persistence, don't leave just yet because the next coin in our countdown introduces another chapter that becomes even more fascinating. It comes from a completely different year and carries stories that many collectors describe as unforgettable. You won't want to miss that one because it challenges expectations in ways few people imagine. But before we move on, there's one more lesson hidden inside the story of the 1993 Jefferson Nickel. Coin collecting isn't only about chasing extraordinary values. It's also about preserving history. Every coin records a specific moment in time. It reflects the technology, craftsmanship, and economy of the era when it was produced. Holding a nickel from 1993 means holding an object that has traveled through decades of everyday American life. It may have purchased groceries, crossed countless state lines, rested inside collections, or sat forgotten in a drawer waiting for someone curious enough to notice it again. That journey gives every coin a story, whether valuable or not. The possibility that one example might display remarkable characteristics simply adds another layer of Next 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why. At first glance, the 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel looks like nothing more than another ordinary 5-cent piece that has passed through countless hands, cash registers, vending machines, and forgotten coin jars over the decades. But imagine discovering that one seemingly common nickel could become the centerpiece of one of the most unbelievable collector stories ever told. What if a coin that millions of people ignored for years was actually hiding a mystery capable of changing someone's life forever? That possibility alone has inspired collectors to spend thousands of hours searching through old rolls, inherited collections, and dusty containers filled with spare change. If you thought the previous two coins were unbelievable, keep watching because this story becomes even more fascinating, and remember, after this incredible nickel there is still one final coin left in our countdown, and many experienced collectors believe that finale will completely blow your mind. Before we uncover every twist, let's reveal the astonishing number that has captured the attention of collectors everywhere. Under an extraordinary combination of extreme rarity, exceptional preservation, remarkable mint characteristics, and unmatched collector demand, this legendary 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel has been associated with an estimated collector value reaching an unbelievable $118 million. Just hearing that number makes people rush to check every nickel sitting in their pockets, purses, piggy banks, and old family collections. Of course, nearly every 1988 P. Jefferson nickel you encounter is an ordinary circulation coin worth face value or a modest premium depending on condition. The extraordinary value people discuss always refers to an incredibly unusual example with exceptional characteristics, not the average nickel found in everyday change. That distinction is important, yet it never stops collectors from searching because history has repeatedly shown that remarkable discoveries often begin with coins everyone else overlooks. The Philadelphia Mint produced enormous quantities of Jefferson Nickels in 1988, supplying businesses, banks, and consumers across the country with millions upon millions of fresh coins. Every one of them began its journey as a blank planchet before passing through powerful coining presses where incredible force impressed Jefferson's portrait onto one side and Monticello onto the other. Most emerged exactly as intended. But collectors have long been fascinated by the possibility that a tiny number may have left the presses displaying characteristics unlike the rest. Some enthusiasts describe unusually bold strikes where every fine detail appears razor sharp. Others search for subtle doubling around letters or design elements that seem almost invisible until viewed beneath magnification. Still others carefully inspect the reverse, hoping to find exceptionally complete architectural details that separate one coin from millions of ordinary examples. Imagine sitting at a table under a bright desk lamp late one evening. In front of you rests a pile of nickels collected over many years. One by one you lift each coin, turning it slowly beneath the light. Most appear completely ordinary. Then suddenly one coin reflects differently. Jefferson's hair seems unusually crisp. The lettering looks remarkably bold. Monticello appears unusually detailed. Your heartbeat quickens. You reach for a magnifying glass. Every second feels longer than the last as you compare tiny details with photographs from collector guides. Whether the coin ultimately proves extraordinary or simply interesting, that moment of suspense is exactly what makes coin collecting so addictive. Every handful of change carries possibility. Every forgotten collection holds unanswered questions. Every search offers another opportunity to uncover something remarkable. Stories like these have fueled the hobby for generations. Families often inherit old jars filled with coins accumulated over decades without anyone ever examining them carefully. Children sometimes discover unusual pieces while counting allowance money. Bankroll hunters purchase boxes containing thousands of nickels simply because they understand that persistence often leads to exciting finds. They know remarkable discoveries rarely announce themselves. Instead, they quietly wait inside ordinary-looking coins until someone curious enough takes a closer look. Another reason collectors remain fascinated by the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel is the importance of condition. Two coins struck on the same day can have dramatically different futures. One might spend decades rattling around inside pockets, slowly collecting scratches, wear, and tiny marks. The other may remain untouched inside an original roll, preserving brilliant mint luster and razor-sharp details. Decades later, collectors evaluate every tiny characteristic. Surface quality, strike strength, eye appeal, luster, preservation, and overall presentation all influence desirability. A beautifully preserved coin often creates excitement long before an auction even begins. Picture an auction preview where specialists gather around display cases examining an extraordinary Jefferson nickel. Conversations begin quietly. Magnifying glasses appear. Experts compare notes while photographers capture every tiny detail. Rumors spread across the collecting community. Interest grows with every passing day. Finally, auction day arrives. The room fills with anticipation. Bidding opens. One collector raises a paddle. Another immediately responds. The competition intensifies as determined buyers refuse to let an exceptional coin slip away. Every new bid increases excitement. Every pause builds suspense. Moments like these remind everyone watching that coin collecting is about much more than money. It is about history, craftsmanship, patience, knowledge, and the thrill of discovery. Even people who never considered themselves collectors often become fascinated after hearing stories of remarkable finds hiding in everyday change. That fascination encourages them to look more closely at the coins they receive each day. Kitchen drawers suddenly become treasure chests. Old piggy banks become exciting mysteries waiting to be explored. Spare change resting inside forgotten jars suddenly deserves another look. That's the incredible power of stories like this. They encourage curiosity, and curiosity has always been the collector's greatest tool. Don't click away yet because the final coin in this series is still waiting, and if you think this 1988 P. Jefferson nickel has stretched your imagination, the grand finale takes everything you've heard so far and raises the suspense even higher. That last story has become one of the most talked about legends among people who dream of discovering hidden treasures in plain sight, and you absolutely won't want to miss how this countdown ends. Before we leave the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel behind, remember one simple lesson. Never judge a coin by its appearance alone. Some of the most fascinating stories in numismatics begin with coins that looked completely ordinary until someone decided to examine them carefully. Every date, every mint mark, every tiny design detail has the potential to tell a story. Most coins will remain common, but every careful search adds knowledge, experience, and excitement to the journey. That's why dedicated collectors continue searching year after year. They understand that the next handful of change, the next inherited collection, or the next unopened bankroll could hold the discovery they've been dreaming about. And now, with only one coin left before this incredible journey reaches its unforgettable conclusion, prepare yourself, because the final Jefferson nickel is about to deliver the biggest mystery, the greatest suspense, and the most dramatic ending of them all. Next, 1977 Jefferson nickel. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. Think about it for just a moment. Somewhere right now, inside an old dresser drawer, tucked away in a dusty cigar box, forgotten inside a piggy bank that hasn't been opened for years, or sitting quietly at the bottom of a coffee can filled with loose change, there could be a 1977 Jefferson nickel that nobody has looked at closely in decades. It may have passed through hundreds of hands, bought countless everyday items, and survived nearly half a century without anyone realizing that collectors have imagined extraordinary possibilities surrounding this seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin. It doesn't sparkle like gold, it isn't made of silver, and it certainly doesn't look like something that belongs behind behind museum glass. Yet that is exactly what makes this story so captivating. Sometimes the greatest treasures disguise themselves as the most ordinary objects imaginable. Today we arrive at the grand finale of our countdown, and this final coin carries the biggest legend of them all. If you've stayed with me through every story, every mystery, and every unbelievable collector tale, then get ready, because this last chapter brings everything together in the most dramatic way possible. According to extraordinary collector speculation surrounding an exceptionally unique example with remarkable characteristics, flawless preservation, and unprecedented demand, the legendary 1977 Jefferson Nickel has been associated with an astonishing estimated collector value of as much as $127 million. Just imagine hearing those words while holding an old nickel that had been sitting unnoticed in your home for years. Your heart would race. Your hands would probably shake. You'd immediately begin wondering whether the coin in front of you could possibly be something special. Now, it's important to remember that virtually every 1977 Jefferson nickel found in circulation is an ordinary coin worth only its face value or perhaps a modest premium depending on condition. The extraordinary figure attached to this legendary story refers only to a hypothetical, exceptionally rare collector specimen with truly unique qualities. But the possibility of remarkable discoveries is exactly what has kept coin collectors searching for generations. It is the hope, the curiosity, and the excitement that transform an everyday hobby into an unforgettable adventure. To understand why the 1977 Jefferson nickel continues to fascinate collectors, we have to travel back to the late 1970s. America was changing. New technology was emerging. Families still carried cash every day, and nickels moved constantly through stores, restaurants, gas stations, and neighborhood businesses. Millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels rolled out of the mint and entered circulation, where they quickly became part of daily life. Nobody stopped to admire them. Nobody expected them to become the subject of collector legends decades later. They simply did what coins are designed to do, passing from one person to another, quietly witnessing history one transaction at a time. Yet among those millions of coins, collectors have long imagined that a tiny number might possess characteristics so unusual that they would stand apart from every ordinary example surrounding them. Some enthusiasts search tirelessly for extraordinary strike quality, believing that unusually sharp details reveal coins produced under exceptional circumstances. Others examine every letter and every number looking for subtle doubling that can only be appreciated under magnification. Some inspect Jefferson's portrait, studying the smallest details of his hair, his profile, and the lettering surrounding the design. Others focus entirely on Monticello, carefully counting every visible architectural feature, searching for unusually complete details that separate exceptional coins from ordinary ones. It is astonishing how much attention collectors give to the smallest differences, yet those tiny details often become the very things that make a coin memorable. Imagine walking into your grandparents' home after many years. While cleaning an old cabinet, you discover a forgotten tin box filled with loose coins collected over decades. Dust covers the lid. The hinges creak as you open it. Inside rests a lifetime of pocket change, pennies, dimes, quarters, and dozens of nickels. You pour them gently onto the table. At first, nothing seems remarkable. Then one 1977 Jefferson nickel catches your attention. The surfaces shine differently. The design appears unusually bold despite its age. Curiosity begins to grow. You reach for a magnifying glass. Every second feels filled with anticipation. Could this be an ordinary coin? Almost certainly. But what if it isn't? That single question has inspired countless collectors to spend years searching through old collections. Every discovery begins with someone deciding to take a closer look. Stories from the collecting community often begin in the most unexpected places. A child sorting through inherited change. A retired banker opening long-forgotten rolls. A collector purchasing an estate collection simply out of curiosity. A family member cleaning an attic before moving. In nearly every memorable story, the coin was hidden in plain sight. Nobody recognized its potential until someone paid attention. That is why experienced collectors constantly remind newcomers never to ignore old coins simply because they appear common. Sometimes rarity hides behind familiarity. Another fascinating aspect of the 1977 Jefferson Nickel is how dramatically condition influences collector interest. Coins preserved with original mint brilliance become increasingly desirable because time naturally leaves marks on circulating examples. Every scratch, every contact mark, every moment spent bouncing against other coins slowly changes a coin's appearance. But imagine a coin that somehow escaped all of that. Perhaps it remained sealed inside an original roll. Perhaps it rested untouched in a collector's album for decades. Perhaps it was carefully stored from the day it was received. Such preservation creates excitement because it allows collectors to see the coin almost exactly as it appeared when it first left the mint. Professional grading becomes especially important in situations like these. Experts examine every surface under magnification. They evaluate luster, strike quality, eye appeal, preservation, and countless tiny details invisible to the untrained eye. The difference between one grade and another may appear insignificant to casual observers, yet experienced collectors understand that even the smallest improvement can dramatically increase desirability. Then comes the auction. Imagine the room buzzing with anticipation. Display screens show enlarged photographs of the coin. Specialists discuss every detail. Collectors from around the world watch closely, determined not to miss the opportunity. The auctioneer begins. Bids appear almost instantly. Competition intensifies. Each new offer pushes excitement higher. Every pause feels dramatic. Every increase reflects another collector's determination to own an extraordinary piece of numismatic history. Whether the final result reaches expectations or not, the excitement itself becomes part of the coin's legacy. That emotional connection is one of the reasons coin collecting continues to attract people generation after generation. It combines history, craftsmanship, detective work, patience, and imagination into one unforgettable experience. The 1977 Jefferson Nickel also teaches an important lesson that extends far beyond collecting. Extraordinary opportunities often hide inside ordinary moments. Most people overlook loose change because they assume nothing interesting could possibly be hiding there. Collectors think differently. They understand that careful observation reveals details invisible to those who never bother to look. That mindset transforms simple pocket change into an endless treasure hunt. Every coin becomes a question waiting to be answered. Every date becomes a clue. Every mint mark becomes another piece of the puzzle. Even if no extraordinary rarity is ever discovered, the search itself remains rewarding because every coin tells a story about the time when it was made and the journey it has taken since then. As our countdown reaches its conclusion, one idea stands above everything else. Never underestimate the ordinary. History has shown that remarkable discoveries often begin with the smallest objects and the simplest moments of curiosity. The next time you receive a handful of change, pause before spending it. Look at the dates. Examine the mint marks.